summer is here.
Summer's here to stay.
Do you think?
No.
No?
No, it's going to rain tomorrow.
Okay.
So it's gone again.
Thunderstorms, though. That's hot rain.
Tropical. It's like Barbados.
Yeah.
I went to Barbados once.
Did you?
Yeah, with my dad and sister. It rained for most of the time. One of those and that was summer. So...
Was it a beach holiday?
Yeah, it'll be... Yeah. I feel like it's weird to do a city break in Barbados. What's the capital of Barbados? You should...
I don't know. I should know that. I don't know. Do you know the national sport of Barbados is netball? Which feels like that can't really be a national sport.
What's wrong with that? Why can't it be a national sport?
Well, because it's an embarrassing sport to have as your national sport.
Why? Because girls play it.
Because it feels like it's like handicap basketball as a sport.
You're offending a lot of people now. That is a bold thing to start the episode with.
People play netball, and I feel it's deeply sexist to make women play netball. Because it's like geriatric basketball.
Geriatric.
I know it's an American sport, basketball, but girls should play basketball. Yeah, because it's a sport.
And netball isn't.
It's like fucking tag.
This is a hard start. It's like tag.
Yeah, but it's
actually a little bit like stuck in the mud. Yeah.
Who's playing netball now? Are there big?
They're professional netball players. Yeah.
No, I know.
Well, not professional. I don't think it's a bit like hockey, isn't it?
Yeah, it doesn't have a big spectator.
Yeah, it's on the TV sometimes. Netball.
Yes, and it's international. But I mean, it's not
like a diamond league.
I don't think it means that much to people. I don't think it brings up the passions. Sure, if you're a semi-professional,
one of my friends plays netball every weekend.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
People play it. I know two people who are in netball.
It sounds like
teams.
I'm being sexist, but actually, I'm saying it's sexist that women should have to play that sport. Because it's...
Yeah, I know what you mean. Because what's the rules? You can't... Once you catch it, you can't move.
You pivot.
You can pivot. It's not the best spectator sport.
Yeah, maybe I've misunderstood the... To be fair, I
think that's for sure.
Like once or twice. And then...
You play it? Yeah, I've never...
The net, so you don't have a backboard.
No, so that seems like a nightmare.
It's actually hard to do.
Go.
But it just means that you're everyone's sort of waiting around the bottom, and the shooter's kind of got as long as...
Yeah, but there's only the certain amount allowed in the D. I know that.
But then a lot of the time, it's like the shooter seems to have the goal attack, even the goal attack, it's like
a lot of that, isn't it? And then that.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, and
but that's basketball.
But this goes on for a while. Basketball
goes on for a while.
Basketball is,
once they stop,
basketball's frenetic. But there's sometimes, and it's like
basketball's certainly more fluid.
Yeah.
I still think,
I just don't know why you wouldn't.
Why you wouldn't play basketball?
It's more that everything you get from netball, you can get from basketball and more. Apart from if you're disabled.
Right. Now...
No, do you know what I mean? It's like visually impaired football. You know, walking football, and they had the bells in it.
Yeah.
That makes sense. But then if you can see, you probably shouldn't play football like that.
But then it's still a very active game. So...
Yeah.
You can't, because you still got to run.
But if you can run, then you should be playing basketball, is my argument.
Now that's it's a very...
We're coming in hot.
We're 4 minutes in, and you've gone in with netball is a mentally handicapped basketball. And if you can run, you should play basketball. For people, mostly, because it is mostly girls.
Being honest.
And, if you're a man who plays netball, whatever.
Yeah.
Comment. Why would you play? Because I don't know enough to agree or disagree. But why
goal attack? That seems
it's one you can't move between. If you're a certain position, you have to stay in your third. I think as well.
I didn't even know that, but that sounds
which limits the amount of running. Yeah, it is starting to.
The women are way more active than this. I feel like they should.
Maybe they should play basketball.
Yeah.
Well, is there a reason that there's no reason why they shouldn't?
But so girls play different sports to guys, and I think they should play. We should all play the same sports.
Wow.
That's pretty good, isn't it?
That's pretty good.
Nice.
That's pretty good.
Because it just feels a bit like, and I think it's a bit old-fashioned. Rounders.
Rounders is the worst. It's a game you play in the park.
Yeah. It's like playing French cricket.
Yeah, it is. We played it in the park for someone's birthday. She did come and play rounders. It was fun.
It's fun, yeah.
It's fun you do it in the park when you. I had a beer in my hand for the whole time.
It doesn't give meaning and purpose to your life.
These guys were playing other schools. They got their own rounders bats. No, you don't. Just use a stick.
Play baseball.
Play baseball.
I mean, baseball's a boring sport as well.
Well, rounders is like our version of cricket, isn't it, really?
Our version of cricket? Cricket?
Yeah.
Our version of cricket?
Yeah, so like a female version of the English.
Sorry. I thought you were talking about Britain versus America for some reason.
Yeah, America made cricket. We don't play cricket.
Our cricket is round.
No, I feel like that's female equivalent to cricket.
Well, I think women should play cricket.
Yeah. Well, they are. It seems that
they're better sports.
They
that
are better
more
sports.
defined and teach you more about all
Life.
the good things. Well, all the good things you get from sport.
Yeah.
They come from. They're deeper games, and I think it's deeply patronising that you play these. You know, rounders.
It is true.
The stump nose baseball bat. It's like what is
one that you can only hold it with one hand.
Are they going to do like, you know, when old people are exercising in the pool, like are they going to be doing that soon? Like,
it does seem unfairly limited. That's pretty. Yeah, it's probably a progressive argument.
I think so, but done in a really aggressively,
in a horrible way. Because you're not that far off comparing women to the mentally and physically impaired.
I'm saying we should stop comparing them to that.
Right.
So it's confusing whether I'm being right or not.
You're riding you're on a very precarious wave right now, and I'm not sure you're going to stick the landing.
They can keep hockey, even though I think that's special needs on both sides.
Well, that's rude.
That was your best sport.
A hockey player.
That was your best sport.
It was my best sport. Why is hockey? Hockey's not for the.
Why does no one watch hockey? Why does no one give a fuck about hockey?
Does it just because it's not a spectator
No, I guess
sport?
not. I guess not.
It isn't.
It's a good sport.
Yeah, it isn't the best watch.
No.
I watched it during the Olympics.
Yeah.
I went to it during the Olympics.
Yeah. Well, our school fucking didn't let us play football. They did. Only in a fifth year.
Oh yeah.
Because they're very snobby about that. That was very old school.
So it was rugby instead. That wasn't hockey.
No. Yeah. So yeah, let's
normalize.
Let's all play the same
something.
Sports.
Yeah.
You know. That's my
de-gender sports.
Yeah.
That's
right
important.
now, or play American sports, which are sort of girl sports anyway.
Yeah. Nice. Take that, you Yanks. Across the pond, dickheads.
How have you been? How are things?
I'm good.
How art thou?
I'm good. Back to work. Mm-hmm. Hilariously, as for people who, for long-time listeners of the podcast, will know that part of my job used to be communicating with the police.
Yeah.
And accidentally on air one time I sent the word cunt to a female police officer.
Famously.
I don't know what episode it is.
It's the one called Friends Reunion. I don't know what number that is, but type in Boys Gone Wild Friends Reunion and it's some of the best
podcasting you'll ever see. So that happened. And I was disciplined for it.
Yeah.
Months later. But now I've moved jobs. Daddy. Yes, they whipped me. It was that's what my company likes to do, is put a ball gag on me.
Oh yeah, you like that, do you? Yeah, naughty boy.
Get those frayed whips out. And just, it would have been much more preferable to the actual.
Don't hit me harder, Daddy.
Yeah, okay. Playing coy, hard to get. Yeah. So I got disciplined, but I've moved jobs to a different thing. Same company though, but so it's all gone to shit since I've been gone.
Really?
The queues are on fire. They're missing deadlines left, right, and centre.
Well, maybe they're still revelling from you calling a female police officer a cunt. Maybe the emotional.
You'd think it's been a year.
I don't know.
You'd think the inbox would be that full of complaints.
It's been 2 years. It was ages ago.
Well, yeah, maybe.
It was ages ago. I mean, this is pretty.
But then remember, they only found out like 6 months later.
Yeah, it was sort of like, you know, the second half of Oppenheimer. You know, where it's basically all him being interrogated about. That was how long the thing.
Getting an Oppenheimer style film.
Yeah,
that could work.
You're under interrogation.
In my biopic, it's centered around that. They found out 6 months later. So I don't actually know. But so I come back from the old sabbatical.
Yeah,
straight away. It's like, we need you back, Andrew. Damn. So I'm back communicating with the police.
I said I'd never work.
I said I'd never go back.
For one last job.
They pulled me for one last job. So I'm working that for a week. Which things must be tough if they need old cunty McGee back. Say whatever you want, mate.
There's only one guy who can do this job.
Cunty McGee.
We can.
He's too reckless.
He's too dangerous.
But he gets the job done.
So you really are doing a clean-up job, or is it just more like numbers?
I am doing a clean-up job. And
are you doing a good job? Is part of you taking pride in it?
Top performer.
Yeah, really? Have you been promoted out of this job?
I think it's because I'm being very careless.
Yes.
Yeah, it's essentially a promotion.
Yeah, you're going down to do this.
Yeah.
This is below. This is sort of below your pay grade.
It's not really. It's not really. But it is, technically.
Yeah, fine.
But not really. I don't really. It's hard to describe. It's lateral, technically.
Fine.
My job doesn't give me promotions, as you know, or pay rises. I just
I
kind of move. I literally go from different places for the same pay, and then.
No, I rate that about your company. I do respect. I have always respected about your company.
Just a bit of that, bit of this.
I respect that there's a real discipline. You know, things constantly changing. thing, and I think there's like a good set of values at that company.
What are those values?
The values are, you know, maybe we don't have to change stuff all the time. Maybe
Yeah,
the
if it
past
ain't broke, don't fix it.
and that is your pay.
And that's our pay.
Do you know what I mean? There is a value to tradition. There is a value to ritual.
I honestly,
and that tradition is paying you badly every year.
Yeah, it's fucking abhorrent. I think my pay rises are basically adjustments to inflation.
Yeah.
That's kind of the way they do it. But yeah, so I'm back there. Daddy's back home. Didn't really get the round of applause I was expecting.
No.
In fact,
Do you see any of the old team?
No one said anything to me.
No?
Yet. No. I not even like my old manager. I'm doing stuff there, and it's just like silence. But yeah, good to be back. Good to see some old police contacts that I've maintained over the years.
Yeah.
Particularly shout out to Greater Manchester Police. You know who you
Oh,
are.
really? So have you got friends in the police?
Sure. I've got more enemies in the police than friends. No, I know a few by name, and they know me by name.
Okay.
But if we just exchanged emails, you know, they're, you know, Bobby's on the beat, and
They are. Well, they're bobbies on the laptops, aren't they?
well, these are like fucking, you know, I don't actually know. Well,
Are these hardcore fellas?
yeah, they're pretty.
Yeah.
Well, it ranges, you know. You can have
Luther.
some. Yes.
It's
Yeah. I run PCDI Luther.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Idris Elba hasn't come on.
No.
But there's. Yeah, it ranges. You can have. They're all like detectives, I think.
So I got a fancy haircut. I got the fancy haircut that was at the same hairdressers that Andrew.
Don't make it sound like it's a coincidence.
And it's not a coincidence. I asked you for it. I was thinking I can treat myself to an expensive haircut, a very expensive haircut, more expensive than you led on actually.
Well, it's on the website, pal.
Yeah. Well, I went in thinking, all right, 50 quid.
No, I didn't say 50 to you.
Do you not?
No. I said 60, but it's actually 70.
So yeah,
all said and done.
So this is like a really fancy place. This is showbiz. This is where the stars
You go there to get your hair did.
Yeah. Well, it's more like this is glitz and this is glamour.
I suppose so.
This is the hairdressers of the stars, right?
Yeah. I'm yet to see many stars in the clientele.
That's true. I didn't see anyone there, but they seem
well, they don't even ask you if you want a head massage. They just give you one.
They asked me. I don't know what that means.
What does that mean?
So normally I'd get like a £25, £30 haircut, but I thought I'd treat myself to this really fancy one. Elle has been going on about this whole time. And so you go on the website and you have lots of people to choose from. This is already new territory for me.
Yeah.
And the prices range from about 58
to like 100
to like £200, some of them.
Is it 200 quid for a men's haircut?
Yeah.
Nah. Anyway,
I hadn't even ticked men. I don't know. Anyway.
You did. Otherwise, you can spend like 300.
But then it was funny. I didn't know. I'd forgotten that you'd mentioned that your hairdresser was called Lorenzo. I just completely.
There was something in your mind. We spoke about an Italian man.
No, it wasn't something like that.
Men.
No, it wasn't. It was the exact.
Subconscious.
No, it was the fact that we both had the exact same thought process. So there's a bottom hairdresser called Lucas, and he's 50 quid, right? Which is already.
Don't name him.
Which is
that
already
feels a bit out of fucking order. He might be a fucking fan.
Yeah, it's on his fucking website.
Don't name the guy.
We talked about Lorenzo.
Yeah, but he's good.
Yeah. We don't know about Lucas. We don't know.
Yeah, but we're saying we don't want Lucas 50 quid.
But it was just a funny thought when you see the picture of Lucas and you're like, there's like 20 hairdressers on here?
More expensive than any haircut I've ever had before.
50 quid.
No.
You can't do the bottom one because you just feel like I'm going to spend loads of money on this and it's going to be literally the run of the litter.
Yeah. You can't even cut hair.
And I looked at his face and I was like, I don't know. I feel like... You know,
but you can't go for the lowest one, even though it's even though it's way more than I've ever had.
Yeah,
it sounds like you just presume the bottom one, the bottom priced one is like it's on his first week. He's training.
Yeah, exactly.
He's like a student barber, whereas he's clearly not. He's clearly got loads of experience because he could haircut in that salon.
Yeah. He's in the hairdressers of the stars, you know. And so we both went for the next one up, which is Lorenzo.
On the same day.
On the same day. Yeah.
Well, because I sat down.
Yeah.
On the same day.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I had a feeling you'd gone for a haircut.
Well, you could feel it in the seat.
I don't know why.
We're probably in the same seat.
No, yeah, we were in the same seat. But then I was there, and so one of my friends also gets her haircut from him, and she'd mentioned me. So she was talking about this.
Who?
Martha.
Oh,
she was talking about, She was talking about, he was talking about her, because he now follows me on Instagram.
Oh, okay.
So then the conversation moves on, he was like, oh, there was a comedian in here earlier. I was like, Because he was talking, we were talking about where he lives, and he was like, "Yeah, this comedian was in here earlier." Saying
I didn't even say I was a comedian. I was just killing it. He must have just
great.
thought this guy is professional.
He just started paying for tickets.
It's like, this guy is definitely a comedian.
Wow. And no, because he said that this comedian is doing a show near where I live at the old George or the George Tavern, and I was like, I live with him. I was like, yeah, no, I know him. He was like, what? Yeah. He really couldn't comprehend that at all because he just spoke. He was like, do you know everyone? Because we were just talking about another guy. I was like, oh, yeah, the guy was in 2 minutes. Yeah, I live with him.
We must have missed each other by like 20 minutes.
Yeah. I think I might have even been the next booking. What time was your booking?
My booking was at 10.
Mine was at 12. 10. So maybe there's someone in between.
Yeah. Well, I had a big panic because
I could have been one. If I was the one after you, I would have seen you in there.
Yeah.
Should have been.
Yeah.
I don't think we want to see each other in that situation.
Yeah, and it was funny because I guess I'd gotten over the embarrassment of having fancy haircuts. I'm getting over it at least. It's still embarrassing when you they have you have to go downstairs to wash.
To wash your hair, not your feet. It's not that fancy.
But the downstairs. What I don't like about that is I'm humiliated having to have any fancy haircut. Past sitting down in a chair, washing your hair, I find it embarrassing.
Yeah.
I think
going
downstairs,
right? It's a whole different room.
Yeah, well then you have sometimes you have the robe.
Did he wash your hair? Yeah. You've always got the robe. You had the robe on, right?
Yeah, but then walking up with wet hair and stuff.
Yeah, and my hair looks mental.
Yeah, I think it's just going up the steps. I just feel really silly.
Yeah, you're really focused on the stairs.
I don't know. I find that makes it more embarrassing.
What I find most embarrassing, did he wash your hair?
He did, yeah.
Yeah, because there's times where someone else has washed my hair, and I'm like, guys, can we fucking chill out?
Yeah.
Like, just one of you do this.
Yeah.
And then he was like, she's really good, isn't she? I was like, I don't know. I don't really understand.
And then he offered me a head massage, and I normally wouldn't say. No, I said yes.
You panicked?
No, I didn't panic. I was more like, I'm spending 65 quid on a haircut. I'm going to get a hair.
And you liked it?
Yeah, it was nice. Yeah. I mean, it was more like when if you're like a hotel buffet and you're trying to make your money's worth. You sometimes eat more.
You're going to pile on a bratwurst, even though you might not be.
You sometimes eat more than you actually want.
Sometimes, all the time, yeah.
So that was more me. Right. I wasn't that fast.
I've spent the money on it.
But I might as well. I'm paying this cunt a lot. He might as well stop rubbing my head.
That was the first time. He did it without asking me last time. He has asked me before.
Yeah.
And I've always said no.
Okay.
I'm like, I guess. And I think previously I would have said I'd pay more to not have a head massage by a stranger. Yeah. I'm not a massage man. I've never enjoyed a massage. I think.
Have you ever got a sports massage? Do you ever need?
Yeah, I've told you the story. I had a bad back.
Yeah.
It's not the most famous story. I had a bad back from playing rugby and then got a sports massage, which I think worked in the long run, but it made me throw up.
Oh, really?
I think probably because she was so good at it.
Yeah.
Got dug in there and all my past trauma just threw up and came out. And that's when I threw up in the middle of the In-Betweeners movie.
Wow. But I mean, you realise that these sort of expensive haircuts, for ladies, it is like...
Yeah.
It's a whole experience. You're there to...
Well, you can have fucking shampoos.
Prosecco. You didn't offer me that shit. I was like, you didn't get the Prosecco. He was like, do you want a drink? And I knew that there was probably some good options. Paused. And he goes, water, sparkling water. I was like, sparkling water, yeah.
You got the water. Yeah.
What did you go for?
I'm yet to order a drink.
Yeah, you probably get a nice coffee there.
The thing is, I'm going to get a coffee next time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With a little biscotti, maybe?
You'd hope so.
You'd hope so.
Fucking money. Well, no, yeah, because I think with girls, I always... Having now, like, when I've gone to the Mile End salon, and you see, it's not very busy.
No.
So you don't really see that many clientele. But now that I've gone to a place where there are girls, you realise how long they're sitting there for.
Yeah, so I guess it's a whole thing. Exactly.
And sometimes you're there for, donkeys.
Yeah.
3 hours.
127 hours.
127. A man was stuck under a rock for that long. And they're sitting in a chair. So,
Yeah.
But no, it's crazy. It's a whole situation.
I guess it's weird that we had the same hairdresser. Is that?
I don't like it. It's a bit like, can I have my own thing?
Does he cut Martha's hair?
No, I think because when ladies' hair, it's like everyone cuts it. She said that he did her fringe, and I'm like, right.
Oh shit! They get a whole team involved.
Yeah. It's like it takes a village to raise a baby.
Yes, It does take a village to raise a baby.
As we've always said, that Boys Got Wild podcast. It takes a village to raise a baby. Yeah, but there's something about it where I'm like, one, it's embarrassing if they're any way similar. If there's like, I know it's a haircut's a haircut, but if we're looking, if that camera head is like the same, that's lame.
It is embarrassing.
That's lame. And also, I have been looking for a barber for years in London.
Are you going to go back to this guy every time?
Yeah. Can you not?
I probably won't be able to. I won't spend that much money on it.
Yeah. Can you go to Luca?
I probably wouldn't. Yeah, I'd probably go back to the Mile End salon for quick talk. I was only just doing it because I got the special, and like I'd never get my haircut this early because it was like
early.
It was 3 weeks after my last cut, so I was basically just getting a top up to make it look good
For your special?
Yeah, and then I had a very Horatio moment when I panicked the night before and I was like, I don't need this. I spoke to BB. She said, you probably don't need the haircut. You might fuck it up. And I was like, shit, I'm spending so much money on this.
Yeah.
And I tried to cancel it, but then it was closed.
You panicked.
And then if you cancel 8 hours before, you still have to pay half the fee. And if you cancel less than that, you have to pay the whole fee. So I very nearly paid the whole fee and didn't go. And I was like, this is ridiculous.
Why? Because they might fuck it up.
Yeah, I was like, my hair was looking pretty good anyway. It was kind of unnecessary.
But that's just pre-haircut jitters.
Yeah.
Every single time I go, the best your hair will ever look is the day before and the day that you get the haircut.
Yeah.
So many people are going, They're going, oh, God, that's true.
Yeah.
That I could make like a meme about that.
How would it go?
And people will be like, oh,
how would it
that's
go?
the most agreeable thing I've ever fucking heard, yeah.
Would this be like a walking, talking thing? Or would it be a sketch?
No.
Would it be that feeling
I don't think
when?
it's quite got the legs for a sketch.
Is it that feeling when? Do you think it's got a feeling when in?
It's a bit like, isn't it annoying? So it'll be like, God, yeah, isn't it?
How would you present this though?
How would I present it? It'd be like a purpley background.
Okay.
I think I'm doing text. Pure text. And it's like...
so it's like a written
maybe
meme.
it's like a... isn't it a baby that does that or something?
Okay, so it's that, yeah.
It's like what? And there's like, or like an irked grandma.
This feels like a Facebook meme.
Yeah.
So it's kind of low res with like a cartoon expression on there.
Something that
and it's
Paul's nan would share.
Yeah.
Something that Paul's nan would share. And it's like a granny, or it's like a granny like pointing up to the camera with a slight fisheye lens.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, not telling off. She's like, and it would say, why does your hair always look its best just before you get it cut?
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
And everyone would smash that.
I think that's posted by like Radio 246 Lebanon. It's like weird Facebook pages which have no reason.
Sunam Tandoori Curry House.
Which are like weirdly become meme pages, and it was almost like AI memes.
Yeah. That's green tandoori. There's a lot of Indian restaurants do these things. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. But yeah, so that'll be my meme. But that's the truth. You fell into that trap. But were you happy with it?
I was happy with it.
Yeah.
I was happy with the experience.
Well, did he scissor cut all of it?
All scissor cut.
Crazy,
well, I hadn't paid. Yeah, I hadn't paid for.
No. But that's just because it looks better.
Oh,
and because it takes longer.
Yeah,
it's crazy. He's very good at the back and sides. I'm not actually as happy with mine this time. But.
Really interesting. Maybe he gives you a good one on your first
go,
pop,
and
so
then he just stops caring,
and you come back for more.
No, I've fallen into the trap because I used to get a terrible haircut from a place that I didn't like going to.
Yeah. Was this the guy who kept? Ali, who kept asking about your family.
Yeah, and how's your mum? Was like, yeah, it's sweet, it's nice, but you've never met her. I've only met you 3 times.
I've only met her 4.
Yeah. No, and because I end up. I'm a sucker for like
cock.
For cock.
Sorry.
I'm a sucker for some cock.
It was an easy one.
It was
easy.
I suppose sucker. Yeah. No, that is actually quite good. No, I'm a sucker for falling into like the whims. There's definitely some sort of emotional issue that's deep within me that like a barber or someone I will always go back to.
Daddy complex.
Yeah, there's some daddy complex going on there. I'm a big repeat business guy because that Ali, for God, just gave me these awful haircuts.
How long for?
For fucking hour.
You had a more of a zone of interest sort of look for a while.
Yeah, I know, because I kept going, I don't want it too harsh, and he was like, sure, and then just every time, the first thing you did was just that. I was like, well, that's gone.
I do rate that often with like Turkish barbers, is that they, yes,
doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter what they're saying, yes, they don't go, and then they just do whatever they're going to do.
Don't give a fuck, and it was never what I wanted. And it's the worst thing because I go there and he'd do it wrong.
Yeah.
And it would be the first thing he did. And then he would he liked me. So one time he would stop cutting the hair to talk to me, and I was there knowing it's going to be a bad haircut whilst he's taking ages to do it.
Yeah, so it's a slow release.
At one point, he was going on holiday.
You want the Band-Aid ripped off.
Exactly. Well, as soon as he does that, I might as well leave.
Well, ideally, he would have wax strips.
Yeah.
And that's how, and you do it all at once, so you could sort of just...
He might as well just do it. I mean, there's no subtlety to it.
Reveal your shit haircut with
there
one
it is.
pull.
Off you go. Happy? No. Bye. No, at one point, and he took so long because at one point he was going with his family on holiday.
Bro loves his family.
Bro loves his family. He was trying to make me love mine more, and that's why I left.
Bro's Vin Diesel.
At one point, he was taking ages, and then he was like so close to finishing. And he was going on holiday with his family. Hold on, he was going on holiday with his family, and he passed me. He was like, "Yeah, we're going to this all-inclusive hotel. It's really nice."
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, that sounds really good. Where is it?" He said, "In Turkey." I was like, "Great. That'll be really nice." He went, "Oh, hold on." And he got out of his phone, and then he went on YouTube, and he searched in the hotel, and he found, and he'd already watched it, but this walking virtual tour around the all-inclusive. It was 5 minutes long, and he held it out.
For the whole thing?
For the whole
That's
thing.
fucking crazy.
For 5 minutes.
Were there any ads in the middle?
And I'm there with a shit haircut, waiting for him to skip ads.
Yeah.
There wasn't any ads in the middle. That would have been at least.
Well, he probably looked at you in your shit haircut and you're like, this guy doesn't give a fuck. This guy, he's got a
This guy
terrible...
doesn't care about anything, does he? He keeps asking for the same thing. It looks shit. I didn't ask for that, Ali.
It's clearly not got a place to be. This guy
Well, it was in the middle of the work day as well, usually. But
Now, are hairdressers, are they... Do you have to be an extrovert to do it? You have to be...
Well, I think it's part... You learn on the trade.
Yeah.
I don't think you have to be an extrovert. It is astonishing. It's a bit like taxi drivers.
Yes.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
Where I think they just... Otherwise, it would be silence. And I think they just stop realizing that they're in someone else's presence because they spend so long of their time being with someone, a stranger, that just turns over. They realize that it really doesn't matter what you say to them because they'll be gone, particularly for taxi drivers.
Well, it's often,
taxi drivers and hairdressers don't really ask you that many questions.
They tell you things.
Taxi drivers, the kind of trope is they just talk about themselves, right? They'll natter on about something.
Which seems interesting. When you have a new audience every time, it seems interesting.
You think maybe...
Are you recycling stuff?
I think they are. It's recycling stuff.
It's the hits.
Yeah, it's the hits, really, I guess.
Yeah.
Some of them, but there's often...
Hairdressers ask about your shit.
Well, that's different, yeah. I take that back as I'm saying.
Well, they're sort of small talk champions. That's their skill is the small talk.
And it's tough because I fucking hate small talk.
Yeah.
And it's tough to go through for an hour sometimes.
Well, like with Uber, you can now tick, don't speak to me. Would you like that for hairdressers?
No. I would never, ever tick don't speak to me.
Yeah, well, I want to have those things that I get like, I'm really nervous in public and that you can't speak to me or don't make eye contact with me.
You're wearing a helmet and oven mitts.
Can you please you haven't taken the helmet off.
No, I can never do that.
I'm imagining an American football helmet.
Yeah, with one of those visors.
Yeah, and I do wonder, is it sort of like a hooker with that like...
A hooker?
Well,
are we in,
a prosy.
Are we in like 90s Brooklyn? A hooker? You don't have the street cred to call them hookers.
Well, a hooker is what, if to me, is quite a specific part. A hooker turns up.
What?
To me, when I think hooker, I'm like specifically that's someone who turns up.
The next one you went to was prosy.
Prosy is a more blanket term. A hooker is a prosy, but I wouldn't necessarily say all prosy is a hooker.
This is going to be, you just, when you have kids, you're going to see shit like that. And they go, a hooker's basically a prosy.
Well, they need to learn. The kids, if you're listening,
they're all sex workers
you
now.
got to learn.
Remember,
well, because how badly.
Workers. You can't say prosy anymore.
Oh yeah, so sort of a strumpet, you know.
A strumpet, yeah.
A lady of the night.
Yeah. Wait, so what is a hooker in your mind?
A hooker is someone who
like room service.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
a
prostitute works at a brothel.
I like to see under those dishes.
Fanny.
It's a fanny.
I spoilt it for you. Sorry.
Yeah. Don't want to see it anymore.
No, I'm the hooker, and you'll say that to me, and I go, "It's a fanny."
What?
I'm sorry, you're asking.
If I say I can't wait to get up in that pussy,
no,
and you say it's a fanny, Actually, it's a fanny.
Both funny, but what I was saying is I've walked in and you're like, can't wait to see what's under those dishes. And I go, it's a fanny.
Right, are you... Because in my mind...
They both work.
In my mind, the hooker was under the room service thing and then it's revealed and it's like, your hooker?
Oh, I see.
So in that world, what you said, it's like I go to the guy who's wheeled you in, I can't wait to see what's under that dish, and then you from inside it go, it's a fanny. It's a fanny.
Can I get a different one?
Oh, yeah, can we do... And then he just wheels you off. It's a fanny.
Yeah. For your secret hooker, you don't want to hear, it's a fanny.
It's a fanny.
With that voice.
I do like someone, a woman correcting you, like when you're dirty talking, say, it's a fanny. That's good. It's actually a fanny. Can you call it a fanny, please? Right, fanny.
But I mean, is the hairdresser's relationship, is it similar to a prostitute's relationship where it's like you put a big performance on, but you're completely cold to them? Do you know?
Right.
Like,
So
do you think when you, I don't know how real, because there's
when you
often
go-
times you feel like you've connected with the hairdresser.
Yeah.
How real is that? Is it similar to feeling like you gave the prostitute the time of her life?
Do you think hairdressers can't go, when they go home, they can't cut their own hair? It's quite. It was a reach, that joke, but I think it's actually really.
I don't know what you're
it's actually
saying.
really good. It's a bit
Go
like
for
a
it.
porn star when they go home. They might not be able to have sex with their wife.
Busman's holiday.
A busman's holiday. You crowbar that into any opportunity, but it is relevant. A busman's holiday. Yeah. So like a hairdresser.
And we got to the bottom of what a busman's holiday was, didn't we?
Yeah.
What was it again?
No,
What was
we
it?
did.
What-
A busman's holiday is saying like because
No, I know what it means.
Right.
But
What's the problem?
why is that phrase? What's a busman's holiday? What is a busman's holiday?
Because it's the busman sees so much of the country that when they go on holiday, they've already seen it.
Well,
It's not the most.
no, I know that's what I mean.
It doesn't suggest the
It's more-
highest.
Because with a busman, they're often on the same route.
A busman.
So it'd be like the 277.
Exactly. And then if you're doing the 277 to Leytonstone, and you go on holiday to Leytonstone,
That is a busman's holiday.
it's a busman's holiday, but
I drive by here all the
probably
time.
question the
choice
imagination of the busman.
Exactly.
Well, no, but what about
A pilot's holiday.
a pilot's holiday?
Yeah, would probably be better.
But I'm sure the saying existed before we could fly.
Oh, do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah,
100%.
Well, I guess the birth of holidays was sort of going down the road.
Yeah.
Oh, this is nice.
Look, we're in Salio. Yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah. So there's news on the Sycamore Gap, which do you want to explain?
I'll explain.
Yeah.
So I don't know this news, so we're going to find all
Yeah.
about it out together.
Yeah.
For those who for the English people who missed it,
Yeah.
and for foreign people who never heard of it.
Oh, I think that was an episode with terrible audio, actually.
Right.
But you go and explain again with good audio.
Oh God. Sycamore Gap.
Yeah.
Apparently, none of us had heard about this tree before.
Well, but then it turned out it was everyone's best friend.
But it was everyone's favourite tree.
Yeah,
It was like a mum died.
Yeah, it was literally.
Everyone was obsessed with this tree, apparently. First we'd heard of
I'd
the
never
tree.
heard of this tree, and then it got cut down, and everyone was like,
And then-
"I can't
What?
believe you didn't." What?
You did what? Sycamore Gap?
Imagine if you were a
that the
tree
name of the
feller.
tree, yeah?
Imagine if you just fell trees all the time, and then you like.
And then
find
you're like,
out
well,
that one of the trees.
Well, why didn't you tell me that you all love this tree? So the Sycamore Gap is apparently the most iconic tree in England.
Yeah.
We
it
didn't.
won a competition
It
for
won, sure.
my favourite trees.
Who hasn't?
Yeah, exactly.
We've all won a tree
Yeah,
competition.
exactly.
But so it was felled in the dead of night. I don't know. It was the dead of night,
It
wasn't it?
brought felling back into the public imagination.
Which is good.
Yeah,
Can you
which-
only fell a tree?
I feel you can only fell a tree, or a
Good
a
sentence.
plant, or a vegetation.
You can't fell a pumpkin.
Can you fell a bush?
No, it's not big enough. A
Yeah.
bush wouldn't fall.
Yeah, yeah. You probably can only fell a tree.
It's a weird word.
Yeah.
For you, I reckon you could also fell.
It feels like it's like Norse.
Like you could
it
fell
feels
a
like
gutter.
it's an old word. It's been around for a
Yeah,
lot.
because it doesn't make sense. That's why it feels old. Yeah. So anyway,
Well,
there's
a tree falls.
but it's the past tense of falls.
Yeah.
So it's
yeah.
weird to be used as a verb.
Yeah. Boring.
I was kind of boring myself as I said it, actually. I was looking at the dishes. Like, well, that's how I'm a bit.
You start to bore yourself.
I've kind of got this from my mum's side of the family. They're big sticklers for like grammar and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And like I've had this for a lot of my childhood of being educated.
Grammar
on this
Stalinists.
thing. Yeah, exactly.
I'm trying to rework it.
Yeah, rebrand it. Reclaim
Because
it.
I think the Nazis have had a lot of shit thrown at them. Do you know what I mean?
Like grammar Maoists.
It's like, there's a lot of things you can get the Nazis on, but don't lump them in with grammar
Maoists.
Yeah, that would
Grammar
work.
Pol Pots.
I don't think they're called the Pol Pots.
They were.
Were they? The Pol Pots?
Pol
Potism.
Pol Pot. Just is always worth saying it again. Pol Pot, the Cambodian dictator. The man who won the first ever Britain's Got Talent was called Pol Pot.
Yeah. I mean, we say it all the time, but it's
worth. I might get a tattoo.
What would you get tattooed?
That full thing.
What you just said.
Yeah. So the Sycamore Gap tree. No. But on the so I find myself.
Yeah.
The thought process happens where I'll go through. Well, that's a verb, but then that doesn't make sense. I don't usually say it to a wider audience.
No.
So the Sycamore Gap tree was felled in the middle of the night. It was a big story in England, front pages, etc. So this iconic tree that no one had heard of was taken from us.
Yeah, it was like when Princess Diana died.
But worse.
The people's tree.
the people's tree. Not the Sycamore.
There's blood in your hand! Everyone's outside Buckingham Palace. Staying overnight.
You murderers! Well, one thing we loved about this country, the Sycamore Gap! So we woke up one day and England was changed forever. We're still mourning.
Yeah.
The culture hasn't been the same
since.
So it was felled in the middle of the night, and it was for a long time. It was like we don't know who felled it.
No.
We then came up with a theory.
No, it was touted.
Yes. It was reported that
the whole point
it was reported that once they did find the potential suspects,
they were questioning
two males. Yeah. One of them was a teenager. The other
16,
one, 16. The other one was in his 70s. So we then, if you wanna get that full episode, we then theorize about what the fuck was happening there in the Sycamore Gap episode.
What's that double act?
We went for its granddad and grandson, and they had a rival tree that they wanted to win the tree tournament.
Yes.
And then they felled the Sycamore Gap tree in the dead of the night so they could win.
And then we opened up to other scenarios where it could be a group of tree fellers and they've only just caught two people, so the ages could range from 16 to 70.
Yeah, it's like a tree felling gang.
Yeah, and it actually perfectly correlates a lot of ages. It's a big gang.
Yeah.
But the only people who are caught because they're
extremes.
Yeah, because they're young and old.
The teenager's stupid. He thinks, I can outrun these. It's like the tortoise and the hare. The teenager's the hare. He's cocky. He's saying, I can outrun these. And he's the tortoise because he can't move. And the policeman isn't.
You misunderstood the fable.
The policeman isn't in the fable.
And the tortoise doesn't win the race either.
No, they both lose the race.
Okay, so I guess. So it's like
one's slow, one's quick. I was just trying to make it so...
That's not the point of the fable.
No. I know that's not the point of the fable. I'm just borrowing from the characters of the fable.
As we learn from what's the lesson?
The cocky youngster...
Tortoises are slow.
And hares are quick. And cocky.
Yeah.
Cocky.
It's about being overzealous.
Yeah, exactly. So that happened. That's kind of it. Now there's an update which is completely passed me by.
It's a disappointing one, admittedly. 2 people have been charged in connection with the felling of the world famous Sycamore Gap tree. I was like this. Please be the old man.
Them.
Please be the old man and teenager. Please be the old man and the teenager. But no, it was Daniel Graham, 38, and Adam Caruthers, 31.
I think
the most boring names ever.
I think what a more appropriate way to punish these men who have taken the most important thing about Britain away from us. Hang them from a bad tree. Hang them from like an average pine tree.
Yeah,
or a mediocre oak tree? Maybe even...
Well, what if we try lynching them on really weak trees so they never die?
That is the perfect punishment.
Isn't it? So it's like they're for eternity, they're hung
on felling trees.
It's just...
Their weight fells the trees, which stops them from dying, which they'll be fucking begging for.
By the end of it.
Yeah. But we'll feed them well. We'll
Guinness World Records, most lynchings in a year. We could go for that.
We could do that. Well, most lynchings to the same people.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to take much to beat. You'd hope it wouldn't take much to beat.
You don't want to be at the Guinness World Record for like... He lynched the most people.
He was lynched the most times. How many? 20.
So boring ages 38 and 31, but it does beg the question: why are the 16-year-old and 70-year-olds under question? That still doesn't clear up that mess anymore.
Part of the maybe it's another. We should lead some actual protests because it's one I want to be like. Why were the old man and the teenage boy arrested? outside. I imagine all of our protests outside Buckingham Palace.
Yeah. Do I have the rest of the sentence so it fits on?
No, we both have the full sentences on each card.
Does it flap out like?
It's like a card. Yeah, it's like a cardboard. No, but it's written quite small.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I did because the other one was what was there's been a few actually, but then we should arrange some sort of, maybe we could amass. I think it was that Kate Middleton might not have cancer.
Yeah.
We wanted why she was in the hospital for the abdominal surgery originally. Yeah. And then maybe, whilst we're there, we might as well be like, why was the old man and the teenager arrested in suspicion of the sycamore tree felling?
Well, we can be outside protesting, or we can set up like Falun Gong, who we've also spoken about this podcast, the people who are set up on a table permanently in central London, handing out literature, doing... I think Tai Chi. Is Tai Chi the thing? Yeah. Some of them are doing that, and I don't know why. I mean, they are Chinese, but I don't want to make that connection.
That seems unfair.
Do you know what I mean? But they are. The only thing I know about them is that they're Chinese and their organs have been harvested. So them doing Tai Chi is probably to do with them being Chinese.
Other than the organ harvesting.
Yeah. I'm not saying they do Tai Chi.
What are you saying? I think you're stumbling over something unnecessary.
I'm saying I didn't just see Chinese people and said...
Like, Tai Chi. Can I walk down one street without these people doing Tai Chi everywhere? It's crazy. Yeah, Tai Chi. Yeah, right. So what are you confused? You wonder why?
Well, I'm saying that I want to set up a similar stand like that for the. So we're handing out literature and then we're blasting kind of thing, and they have really horrible images of like organs. So I think we need a similar kind of thing, like sort of like
Kate
pro-life.
Middleton looking guilty.
Well, the pro-lifers, they'll have like a bloody fetus. It wants that sort of upsettingness.
But our causes are
It's true.
The royal family to say why Kate Middleton had abdomen surgery.
Yeah.
And for the police, the Yorkshire or whatever police, to say why they arrested a young boy and an old man in connection with a tree felling.
Should we talk about something of worth?
No.
Okay, fine.
It could add to the gang aspect, because they found the extremities of age, but they found people in the middle, and they arrested the ringleaders of the tree felling gang.
Oh, I see. Yeah, maybe.
So that's what's happened.
Hopefully. Can we talk about Baby? Let's talk about Baby Reindeer.
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
because that's what everyone's talking about. I forced Andrew to watch it for this week because I watched it last week and it's what everyone's been talking about. Baby Reindeer. Richard Gadd's Baby
Reindeer. He's a great baby reindeer.
Yeah, it's about this tiny reindeer.
Yeah.
Who's like, and then he's got this old reindeer. Who's like, and there's this baby reindeer.
Look at you, rain.
Deeply moving
Christmas film. Is that one right?
Yeah. It's an amazing. It's an amazing depiction of trauma.
Yeah. If I watch the wrong film, it's this animated thing like this coming of age story of a reindeer who just wants to bring the Christmas spirit back.
So what I saw Baby Reindeer as a one-man show,
right?
And I also saw Monkey See, Monkey Do, which is he's taken a lot from that as well,
right,
to put into Baby Reindeer.
Yeah.
And they're both great.
Yeah.
One was billed as a comedy and won the comedy award, even though it didn't really have much comedy in it.
Yeah.
And then the other one, he realised, I'm not really a comedian, I'm just a very skilled dramatist, and made a theatrical one-man show, which is probably the best thing I've seen in Edinburgh. So it's just him on stage telling that story, and it was deeply gripping. Yeah. And he's a very interesting kind of artist, Richard Gadd, because he sort of started out as a comedian, and he was basically at the height of the sort of sad show Edinburgh movement, which is only like him and Nanette are probably Monkey See, Monkey Do and Nanette are probably the two big Edinburgh shows that came out of that sort of sway. But it is interesting as a performer, sort of like being skilled and enthralling, but not being funny, but also being a comedian. It's kind of like a weird.
Well, yeah. Was he ever?
Well, I mean, he tried as a comedian, but he was never like a club comedian. He made brilliant shows.
Do you want to, for people who haven't seen, do you want to?
What about what the show is about?
I mean, for people who have no idea what Baby Reindeer is.
Well, there's this little reindeer.
Yeah. Well, actually, we already did that.
Yeah. Baby Reindeer. It's an autobiographical show about Richard Gadd being a struggling comedian, working at a pub, and then getting sort of intertwined with this insane stalker basically over a 4 or 5 year period, and then lots of other horrible stuff happens to him.
You can watch it on Netflix if you want.
What did you think about it?
It was one of the most stressful things I've ever watched in my life.
Yeah.
I couldn't I was like, wincing at everything that was happening.
You wouldn't have laugh a minute as the quote on the poster.
No.
Happy-go-lucky.
There were a couple of,
Yeah.
because the comedy in it's kind of weird. I presume that's kind of like him.
Yeah.
That it's almost, there is some...
Jilted and jaunty.
And you're like, oh, that's a joke.
Yeah.
It was a very stressful watch.
Yeah.
I actually to fit it in, so I finished it.
Yeah.
So to fit it in for this podcast, I watched it during work, which I kind of liked. I didn't love sitting down.
It's intense.
I think because I can imagine it working well as a play.
Yeah.
Because you're in there for that. I like disturbing films, but a TV series when it's just like it's hard. I'm not like finishing work, making salmon and being like, let's put on Baby Reindeer.
No, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So. It was.
I watched it all in one sitting almost because I found it so thrilling.
Yeah. Well, I did most of it today.
Yeah.
But yeah, once you kind of get in the, because the first 2 episodes you kind of is the plot. You already know what's happening.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The advertising, and then it starts to get even more mental. Oh, Jesus Christ!
And it was expanded out from because the one-man show I saw was an hour, so it was obviously expanded out, and you saw more. And what definitely came across a lot more in the show was his complicity. Like in the one-man theatre show, he hinted at the fact there was like a moment where he says, "Maybe I enjoyed it."
Yeah.
He had like a reflection on it, but then this became across so much clearer
big
that. Yeah, it was so important that it was all his insecurities. I mean, I think
I think it's one of the most honest things I've ever seen.
Yes,
it's like kind of almost too honest.
Yeah,
at times. The craziest part for me for a minute.
Yeah.
He's living with his ex-girlfriend's mum.
Yeah.
That for me, I was like, they actually went to revisit it, which is annoying because when 4 episodes in, I paused it. I was like, he's still living with his ex-girlfriend's mum.
Yeah,
there is no. It wasn't an amicable breakup.
But then there was something very real about all these scenarios where they all felt specific and sort of like nothing I'd seen before. But it's like that's what real people's lives are like.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Everything felt real because there was no.
I think
it wasn't like cliche with tropes of like. It was like that's what. If you saw someone in Lidl and you followed them home, they would have weird details like that.
Well,
probably.
Well,
maybe not. Maybe not living in their grove.
Well,
yeah,
maybe not.
Yeah,
but. Yeah, I especially because it was all like around areas of London. I think the last pub he was in was one I've been to.
Yeah.
And there's something about it being the familiar settings as well.
Yeah.
And like being of that age and stuff, him talking about Edinburgh and everything. I was like, this feels a bit like close to home.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, I was speaking to this about Paddy. It was funny because it was sort of like Hollywoodifying in some ways because it looked so good. It had this sort of like 70s nostalgic cinematography, but it was all just depicting like the kind of shit parts of our lives. It was like struggling at stand-up, going up to Edinburgh, having bad shows, but it kind of doing comedy competitions. But it all had like there was like a glitz to it because it just had this like, it looked so good.
But with these things, there's always, because we're watching a story and you know it's him, and like because we're watching his thing on Netflix that's blown up, you know there's a happy ending in a way.
Yeah.
Whereas when you're living it, there isn't necessarily a happy ending.
Yes.
So I think even though it presented the bleakness of like bombing pretty well, I think.
Yeah.
And some of the horrendous.
I mean, it was very close to happening. It was amazing how global this show's got because it is like taken the London open mic experience and sort of put it on the most global stage I've sort of seen. Like the comedy competitions are all comedy competitions I've done. We've both me and Richard Gadd have been at the wrong end of having, basically, if you do Chortle Student Comedy Awards, it's fucked up. They put up your tape and they won't take it down.
Oh yeah, I remember this.
So like I've done it 3 times. My second gig ever is up there. It's the worst thing ever. And you'll find, in British comedy, you'll find the best comedians in the country. There will be a shitty video of them. That's, for some reason, is the easiest thing to find in the world. If you type their name in, that will come up above. If they murdered someone, if they won a BAFTA, it doesn't matter. That it will always be
2009 Chortle semi-finalist.
And like, even when the stalker was watching his videos and saying that he was shit because she'd just seen that, like that happens to so many comedians where the only video they'll have up is a terrible set from like a student comedy award. And then even the depiction of the Edinburgh venue, I swear that's the venue I did on my second year.
Really?
Southside, I'm pretty sure. I mean, it looks exactly like my...
The pub thing?
Yeah, that looks exactly like my venue. It's like an old Scottish booze where they're always watching football. I mean, you have a curtain. That's what was different. You're not in the main pub. But I'm sure it was the Southside. I'm pretty sure it was in the same venue. So it was funny.
Look it up.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
And one thing also to say about, I found the montage of him being successful really funny, because it was like, he was basically trying to depict.
Oh yeah.
Richard Gadd had one of the biggest rises to fame within British comedy, which is funny. Him showing he was like a struggling artist when like he did Monkey See, Monkey Do. He won the award. He was this huge industry darling hit, and he doesn't depict that so much because he was also young when he got it. This happened when he was like 26, 27. Like it wasn't like, the montage of him being successful is funny. That was only the only bit which felt a bit like, I don't know, below the standard the show had set. It was like him smiling, walking in the sunshine, and then doing like a set at the Comedy Store. It's just like 20 minutes at the Comedy Store. My stock was going up. It's just doing
one of them was him being interviewed on the podcast. Like, that's not, you
haven't
necessarily made it about.
Exactly. I just because you got happy music suddenly,
and a microphone in front of you in a studio. That's true.
And what was interesting is that I feel there's a lot of ethical questions, I think, about, I don't know, the depiction of the reality, the depiction of real people. But then it was kind of weird, even those things where I wasn't comfortable with, and I didn't know how I felt with ethically, I think the quality of the art justifies itself.
What ethical things are you referring to?
Well, how much was, I don't know if it came across, but how much was he searching out for these stories to generate material and content as an artist? You know, how much was the kind of relationship he had with the stalker, how much was, I don't know how active his thoughts were in developing this into a show while he was making shows about, and he clearly was very good at processing trauma through art.
But then he,
because he kept going back to her. It seemed so crazy, the stalker. He dealt with it so poorly at so many times. It was so insane.
But then that was kind of because the explanation he gives was because of, you know, what
insecurities.
Happened to him. What happened? Spoiler for 5 seconds. Because he was sexually assaulted.
Yes.
Not long ago. The timelines of his shows are confusing because it sounds like he started. It was that one clip that went viral.
So so what he was referencing there. So implied on the show was that during a comedy competition he had a breakdown. That was actually all from his hit Edinburgh show, where he on stage talked about that.
So that's
every day for a month.
So that's like right. So he was the stalker stuff still happening while he was doing the show.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. Well, that's a slight change on it. Yeah. Well, there's not.
And I don't mind because the
that's
art's
not really
so
ethical,
good.
Is it? Is that an ethical question or is that just a truth question?
Yeah. Well, what did you feel about? I thought. What did you feel about the stalker?
I feel sorry for people too easily.
Yeah.
I'm like really bad on. If I was in charge of the legal system, it would be a nightmare because I'm gonna be like, I didn't really mean to, did they? She's a bit. I feel sorry for her for the whole thing.
Yeah.
For the whole thing. Obviously, it's a really great depiction of stalking. Never really.
Yeah, and the female stalker is a very rare thing as well. Yeah.
And stalking's always, it's like they're kind of the object of a horror movie.
Yes.
Never really. And I know she's still the kind of villain, isn't she? But you see a bit more of her mindset. But it's terrifying.
Terrifying.
Like it's just her, not in terms of the experience of being stalked. It's like seeing her illness is terrifying. And just like there's no rationality to it whatsoever. They're just gone behind the eyes. It's creepy. How
much responsibility can you put on a person like that? That is an interesting question, I thought as well.
It's an illness.
Can they just?
It's such a weird illness.
Yeah,
I've never really considered it in that way, and I wonder what. Because she hinted at the end in the final bits, it hints towards in one of the voicemails she left that she had a bad childhood. I was like, no shit.
Duh.
But I would have liked to. I'm kind of interested in her situation. Ethically, there's no naming of names, although
everyone's found everyone.
Everyone's
immediately.
Not the guy. I don't think they know who the guy
is. But they're getting their pitchforks out and they're accusing loads of people.
And he's like, stop. Richard Gadd is like, stop doing this.
But also Richard Gadd said, this was because there's also fake news where people are posting things Richard Gadd said that he didn't and they're doctoring it. But
what a great place the internet is.
I don't know if maybe he said something like, stop going after this guy, but didn't say it's not him.
He said, "Stop going off. This guy's not him."
Yeah, on that one, good.
Yeah.
Because
So leave him alone. Full stop.
Yeah, leaving it open-ended is crazy.
Well, no. So the real Martha has been found.
Yeah, and I've seen all her.
It seems that she's posted a response to it. But then I feel, and I guess if she's posted it, and it was kind of creepy because it was in the same
definitely
kind of cadence as how
creepy the sent from iPhone.
Yeah.
And with the misspelling near the end, when it's like so clear she's written out for every single one of her messages.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's I don't know, it's like, because he comes across bad for a lot of it.
Yeah.
So that's why it's like, it's in the honesty of it. Because like, I don't know how I feel about him, really.
No.
And it's quite like...
But it felt like such a true portrayal.
Yeah.
Which I
wonder where
was
he
so
goes
thrilling.
from here, which is kind of interesting.
Is he just hoping something else happens to him?
Maybe. You know? Yeah. Because like, it's so fair. He's processed trauma into a brilliant thing.
Yeah.
Like, what happens when it's all going well?
Yeah.
That's kind of one of the...
And so he kept going back to the person who sexually assaulted him. I mean, we're going to give spoilers. You should have watched it by now.
Well, not really. It's only...
It's pretty big.
Yeah.
And that was so interesting and...
Yeah, but that's a classic thing.
Yeah.
In grooming, it's that. And so he then wrote a show with him. That was crazy.
Yeah.
That's unhealthy, obviously.
Yeah.
But it's because there's that power, and you said after he'd sexually assaulted him.
Yeah.
And then they woke up from the drugs the next day, got in the shower, and it was like that was the representation of how grooming works.
Yeah.
Did a horrible thing to him, then wrapped him up and like sorted him out.
Good cop, bad cop.
We'll move on from that one pretty quickly. But yes, it's that. It's like, you know, they make you feel like they're taking care of you, and then they do horrible things. But you're kind of stuck in that process. So then it's so fucked up that we'd have him going back. We have no idea. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't make sense to us, but it probably would. It does to them.
Yeah.
To victims of these things. But yeah, no, a crazy story. Very intense.
Yeah.
I was very stressful. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. It's great. I mean, it's blown up. It's crazy. It's gonna be the TV hit of the year, I think.
Of the year?
Yeah, I'd say so. It's huge. People are going, what's that? What's that?
Nah, not the year.
What, a story about sexual assault and you act like that? You can't do that.
Monkey see, monkey do.
That's all you got time for.
No! No, there's been bigger TV hits already.
Go for it. Shoot. I haven't seen TikTok react like this to a show. It's kind of like...
Is this still UK? It hasn't blown up in America.
Huge in America. No. Number one on Netflix worldwide.
Worldwide.
It's huge.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Before we go, we'll do a quick fact check.
And that's why it's like people who don't... It feels like it's not just going to people in the industry or like middle-class UK people. It feels like it's...
It's definitely blown up in the UK.
Worldwide Netflix.
Yeah, global Netflix TV ranked. Yeah.
Top 10.
Top 10 in country. Yeah, Baby Reindeer, you're right.
Yeah. It's really big.
Wow. That is 22 million views this week.
And I was yeah.
Yeah, oh my God, it's so much bigger than everything else.
It's massive. It's and I
also Baby Reindeer.
Yeah,
probably. Fair. I've kind of presumed most people.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to. Yeah.
No. Well,
everyone's watched it.
Oh, I thought you hadn't watched it.
No.
All right. Anyway.
But to show the size of it, like even when we're speaking to like Paddy or Mike, I've asked them, have people messaged you about the show? And they're like, yeah. But all of us got like 3 or 4 messages from people asking about stand-up and stuff, or like all your thoughts on Baby Reindeer. It's like it's got a more fascination with UK stand-up than I've seen any show do. It seems to have like kind of cracked through.
Yeah, weird.
It is weird.
Well, it's a hell of a story, and I think like it's compelling because it's true straight off the bat.
It's funny because it's true. Would you say that?
No. Stop trying to do a gotcha moment at the end of the episode. Do you think it would work if it wasn't true?
That's interesting.
Because I don't think it would. I think it works because it's by him.
Yeah.
He's acting it out.
Yeah.
That's what makes it compelling because it's him doing it.
Yeah,
and it's
you
true.
wouldn't believe someone would keep going back to keep doing that if it wasn't true. You'd be like, this is ridiculous. This is crazy. Going back again.
And you kind of get more angry with the main character for
very frustrating
self-destructive behaviour. Yeah. Whereas because he's telling it and it's him narrating it and it's him.
Yeah.
Like, You know, it might not even work if he wrote it and someone else acted in it. In some ways, as much as it is, it probably would, but not like to this level. I think that's why it's so stressful and compelling, because you're like, fuck, this actually happened with that face.
Yeah, I don't
Great bone structure, by the way.
Yeah, he's a ruggedly handsome man.
Rugged, yeah, he's got one of those.
Because he's not like,
he's got like a wonk about him that's like.
He's not like, you wouldn't say immediately hubba hubba.
No, I'm not.
But
I'm not.
You're not jacking it to him.
I'm not getting soggy box.
Mucky knickers.
Muddy.
Mucky.
So muddy. If you shit yourself if you get aroused, you are in for some problems, pal.
Why? Because I'm going to get aroused all the time.
Yeah. When do you wait to see what I'm wearing for the Patreon? Speaking of which, that's all we got time for.
See you guys next week.